Hi, my name is Mary Boland and I'm Theatre Manager at the Theatre Royal in Waterford. Since 2009, the Theatre Royal has worked at reinventing itself. As a 63-year-old organisation set inside a 235-year-old building, it was clear that the legacy of the building needed to be preserved, while at the same time the vision for the future required 21st century thinking. Audiences were listened to, while artist relationships and partnerships developed. Out of that work, Theatre Royal began to grow its offering, increase its audience engagement, and diversify its artistic offering while ensuring financial viability and security for the organisation and its team. Theatre Royal strives to be at the heart of its community. It stirs emotions, it entertains, it enlightens, and it informs us. We now ask ourselves, how do we ensure that this ambition is realised as we work through a worldwide pandemic? And how do we now need to adapt to ensure resurgence, recovery, rebirth, and revival? Adapting to new ways. Team management and board. How have the team management and board dealt with the situation to date and managed continuing steps to recovery? Our strategic and development plan is ongoing and constantly reviewed and updated by the team with oversight by the theatre board. On March 13th, we immediately reviewed the staffing structure in terms of the needs of the organisation and the importance of retaining our staff long-term, which then informed our decisions on the retention and laying off staff during the March COVID lockdown. Only those critical to the ongoing operation were retained, those who needed to stay in touch with our artists and producers, audiences and funding stakeholders. We immediately applied for support for wages through the TWSS scheme. Staff were communicated with in terms of the situation regarding the venue's closure and the impact on each of them. Return to work was slowly implemented in line with government guidelines, with the focus at all times on the reopening of the theatre when appropriate to do so. Correct and comprehensive measures were put in place with our staff and maintenance teams to ensure best hygiene practice and protocols before returning to the theatre following closure. On reopening on August 13th, a minimum number of the team returned while adhering to strict health and safety regulations. From September, most of the core team were back on their normal hours, be they part-time or full-time, as while audience numbers were low, the work involved in ensuring the health and safety of all of our staff, performers and patrons was intensified as we were open to live audience. Our COVID-19 response team was established to take responsibility for the design and implementation of our health and safety plan, while premises adjustments to front of house, administration and backstage areas were carried out to ensure the complete safety of all. Each and every member of the theatre team has adapted their proficiencies, upskilled in the areas of risk assessments and health and safety protocols, and having received training, has now become expert in COVID hygiene and management, as well as expert in their own roles. Now that we are open to live performances and endeavour to remain open, the importance of our health and safety regime is paramount to inspire confidence amongst our staff, artists, producers and audiences. Regional and national collaboration. One very positive development that has emerged over the past number of months has been the collective engagement that the arts sector nationally has experienced. We've come together to discuss, plan, share, and advocate for the future of the arts. Engagement with the arts sector locally has provided musicians, actors, painters, technicians, and more with onstage, albeit quite often in an empty theatre, opportunities. National partnerships have been developed with National Campaign for the Arts, Theatre Forum, the Arts Council, and Department of Culture. This engagement has strengthened Theatre Royal's place on the national map and positioned Theatre Royal as the cultural leader in the region due to its diverse offering and experiences. As part of the ongoing partnerships developed, plans for regional artist supports and opportunities will be rolled out in 2021. An example of this? The South East's Venues Network was formed in 2019 and includes 8 theatres and arts centres in the South East region. It was formed with the purpose to provide supports for strengthening arts centres and venues operations and programme development, and with the aim to further support artists and programme delivery in the South East. In 2021, each network member will contribute funds to create an artist bursary. The purpose of the award is to support a professional artist based in the South East with the opportunity to develop their arts practice. It provides artists with time to think and research and reflect and critically engage with their art. To create new work for the benefit of the region and its audiences is central to this bursary. The benefits provided to the Theatre Royal through this network are many, including the insurance of placing Theatre Royal further on the regional and national map, thus providing opportunities for advanced engagement with audiences and funders. From live stage to live stream. When it became apparent last March that our country and indeed the world needed to shut down, the theatre team began to ask questions and consider options. How can we continue to engage with artists and audiences? How can we ensure the sector in our city and county remains vibrant? And how do we continue to engage with the arts, our peers and colleagues? Very quickly we began to adapt, to consider new ways of creating opportunities for arts practitioners and new ways for audiences to view live performance. We sought out financial aid which has enabled Theatre Royal to invest in equipment and training and to enable the team to upskill and present work. An example of this, keeping the light on. 4 artists all living within 5 km radius of the theatre, a singer, a theatre actor, a spoken word artist and a musical theatre performer were invited to perform on the Theatre Royal stage. Over the course of a day, last May, each arrived at their designated time and separately performed a piece relevant to their own art form. Each piece was filmed and then disseminated online to audiences with the simple message, the Theatre Royal team is keeping the light on for you. This exercise, carried out by the theatre's technical manager Dermot Quinn in partnership with John Loftus Media, gave us the confidence to consider and deliver work to audiences digitally through recorded and live streams. And to date, close to 8,000 audience members have viewed theatre, music, clowning and pantomime. And this work has been viewed in living rooms and classrooms, residential care homes, and has been seen as far afield as Germany, USA, Australia, and in many counties throughout Ireland. In such a short space of time, this new way of delivering work has encouraged us to continue this process. And already for 2021, we have 700 Leaving Cert students signed up to experience a live performance in their classroom from the Theatre Royal stage as part of Theatre Royal's production of its annual Shakespeare Review. Creative rehearsal and performance practices. By its very nature, a rehearsal room is a creative, exciting, buzzing place. Now, directors, actors, stage managers, technical managers, producers need to adapt their way of working to ensure work can continue to be created inside a rehearsal room and can continue to be presented to an audience in a safe and distanced way while continuing to engage, entertain and inspire. How do you now rehearse a love scene or a fight scene or a simple tender moment? When presenting to audiences, how can we ensure the interactive element of the performance, where relevant, can continue to take place? And how do we now need to ensure the experience for the actor and audience member is as engaging as live performance aspires to be? An example of this, Shakespeare Review, making work. So the Theatre Royal will continue to create live theatre for young people. As part of this, we will enter a rehearsal room with a small team of actors supported by a director, designer, stage manager and student facilitator. January 2021's production of Shakespeare's King Lear will present excerpts from the play. Currently being considered is how the famous eye-gorging scene in King Lear can now happen. How can the director with the actors recreate such an important scene in order to give it the same intense meaning required? The creative mind now needs to work overtime to present something that normally requires such a physical representation. While working with counterparts throughout the country, ideas are being shared, discussion is ongoing. And again, this work brings us, the sector, closer together, while we all endeavour to continue to present excellent work while keeping the sector alive. Working together is key to all of this. Finally, work at making it work for others. The Theatre Royal has a responsibility and an opportunity to assist with the ongoing delivery of work with established and emerging artists and organisations. From our findings and experiences throughout 2020, we are now well placed to support this work. The Theatre Royal team has learned and continues to learn how to present work during a pandemic inside a controlled theatre building. The team's training and upskilling, as well as experiences, can provide assistance to creatively led work, as well as to organisations who need to present meetings, conferences, etc. Future creative practices and work is being programmed for the early part of 2021. This work can continue inside the theatre building. It can rehearse and develop and perform throughout what we see will be a quiet time. If we are unable to welcome in live audiences at that time, the work will be live streamed out to people's homes as like a preview of what's to come later. This is a very exciting prospect, as what it will do is allow work to continue to be created with the view to be seen at a later date. Once we all see a light at the end of that tunnel, we will, and have already begun to do so, build a programme of activity that includes all performance genres: commercial comedy, musical, national theatre, pantomime, as well as art-led music and theatre and dance. And we plan to host a cultural explosion in the latter end of 2021. Is this too ambitious and optimistic? Perhaps. But we need to be ambitious and optimistic to ensure the continued future engagement for and with artists, for and with audiences. Thank you.